Welcome to the Choosing Happiness podcast with me, your host, Rüdrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. In these conversations, we will be discussing an uncommon way to find joy in your life with weekly special guests. Did you know you could choose your happy? Won't you come and play and discover how these magical tools could work for you? Let's do this. Well, howdy, y'all, and welcome to the Choosing Happiness podcast with moi. Yes, that's right. Me again, Rüdrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. So glad you could join us, right? And today I have a very special guest. Very special to me. I only met him last June at the Double D Ranch in Belieberville, Texas. And such a gentle man and a gentle giant, if I may say that about you, Mr. Arthur Wood.
Thank you.
May I present, and the crowd gets ready to go wild, the Arthur Wood.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
So exciting to be on your podcast. I'm so grateful. Gosh, I've had the energy of it for a while and it's just been contributing. So thank you.
Oh, I am so glad that it's contributing to you and you as well. Thank you so much for being willing to join this crazy happy party that we have called the Choosing Happiness podcast.
Definitely.
So Arthur, please, if you would, beautiful man, would you mind telling the listeners and those watching on YouTube a bit about you and who you be?
A bit about me and who I be. Wow, okay. So it's going to be different in 10 seconds. Let's just keep that in mind.
I'm down.
Let's talk about who I used to be. So I used to be I modeled for a while, about 6 years, a few different companies, large clothing brands. I grew up in a small. How about this? I grew up in a small town. I grew up in Alamosa, Colorado. I was a farmer. We had a bunch of acreage, and we farmed barley and potatoes. And there was always horses around, and there was always cows, and there was always sheep and goats and all the fun things that you think on a farm. I started going to school in Greeley, Colorado, which is funny. Greeley is really a cow town. And I went to school for business. Well, I went to school for business, and I found in business, I was working at Hewlett Packard, and I was a software tester. And I'm like, I want to make more money. How do I make more money? So I got into sales, and I've been in, technology sales here in Denver for 24 years.
Oh, heavens.
And really, when you're in sales, you got to call people, right?
Indeed.
So I've
you almost have to like people, I was in sales, or at least pretend like you like people. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that. Your point of view creates reality, right?
Sure.
I love everybody.
I get that.
I don't know a stranger. I need to talk to everyone. If I'm in an elevator, I have to talk. If I'm walking up the stairs, I have to talk. If I see somebody's belt that I like, I've got to talk. And
Do you like my belt?
I love your belt. I love your belt.
Okay, cool.
So nice. Good for you.
It's amazing.
With that whole calling, understanding, and with that love of people, my first boss told me good things happen when you talk to people. Huh. And so I've always lived by that.
I like that point of view.
Well, that point of view really has created a great reality for me. Good things happen when you talk to people. And good things have always happened when I talk to people. So
love it.
So right now, I do a few things. I make a wine product. I also invented this truck accessory that we're bringing to market. I'm pretty excited about that. Can't really tell you a lot about it. What's that?
I said, nice. I want to hear about the trunk accessory.
Yeah. Truck accessory.
Truck.
It's a toolbox. It's a movable toolbox. It's really, really cutting edge. It's really, really cool. There's nothing out there like it. I'm really excited.
Cool.
And then on top
Congratulations.
of that, thank you. On top of that, I work for Access Consciousness. I manage their global call team. So
I love it.
Yeah, lots of fun, lots of change, lots of diverse people all over the world. How does it get any better than that?
Yeah, that's a perfect job for you because in case you guys didn't know, we're in 179 freaking countries, man. We are taking over this planet, and I can't imagine a more suited being than Arthur Wood for this job. And this is a new job for you? Did you just take this on?
I've been doing it about a month.
Fantastic. So what does that entail? What is it? I don't want to put it in quotes exactly what you do, but because I know that it encompasses a lot of things. So what have you created, Arthur Wood?
I thought about creating, right? So, and
Hmm.
the great part is it's what is a team creating, right?
Right.
What I really was brought in to do was help um, was help the call organization, because we want to have 10,000 people in a class, in one class.
Can
We
I
want
sign
to
up
have
for that?
we want to have 10,000 certified facilitators creating change around the globe, and to do that, we have to enable our call team, and people joining our call team to really create greater for the people we're calling, to instill in them an energy of abundance.
Mm.
And so that's really my job, is the messaging around that, the training, the coaching, bringing different tools that they've never used into the call team, and instilling chaos.
I have to tell you something. My body is doing all kinds of crazy things while you're talking. Because what's exciting for me, Arthur Wood, is this whole piece about those that are seeking consciousness and being a vehicle to get it to them. You know, it's kind of like, as much as I love the money and all the stuff, you
Yeah.
know, the energy, it's more about the energy of creating that kind of chaos. The money comes. I mean, because money follows joy, you know, that's a no-brainer.
Sure.
But that whole thing about orchestrating this symphony, you know, to all those that are seeking this musical collaboration. This is where I'm putting you. You know, I'm a singer-songwriter. I've always got my microphone. So, you know, it's like I'm always ready to go. You don't have to ask me once to sing a song or whatever. So I always see things as an orchestration. And just leaning into the energy of what you are creating is exciting my body so much.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're kind of like that guy that instills that kind of energy. Because I know when I first met you at the farm during the 7-day with Gary Douglas, the founder of Access. You've heard me talk about him, you guys. And Dr. Dane here, the co-founder. Huh?
Yeah. That was the whirly gig of possibilities.
Yes, it was. Yeah. I still have my whirly gig in my bedroom. I keep meaning to put it out in the yard, but I've not done it yet. It may just stay in the bedroom.
An interesting place for the
Yes, it is, isn't it? My little whirly gig in the bedroom. And then I saw you again at the COP in Nashville with Gary Douglas. And then I saw you again. I mean, I'm saying this for a reason. Trust me. I saw you again at the 3-day that was in Houston, the advanced 3-day body. And like, this guy's already in the advanced body class, but I thought he just got started. And what I've witnessed is this energy that you be. And it's almost as if I've watched it in I mean, I don't even know how to say it, because putting words to things sometimes diminishes for me, but this energy of how you've just over exponentialized even more of you as I've watched you. And I even remember coming up to you at the 3-day and saying, you know, you've actually instilled an energy in me that makes me curious about playing again. Oh, that's and when fun. I say playing, you guys, I'm talking about bodies. Okay. So I moved my mom in and she became my wife. Okay. Just saying. And that's okay.
So wait, playing bodies, you're talking about lust.
I am talking about the lust of life and the lust of bodies and all the lusts.
Good for you.
Yeah. So definitely been open to that. And so the way I've been receiving energy lately has been very lustful. And talking about what you're creating for Access, I am so grateful to you to be that being that chose to go there, because we've been missing that piece. I think, you know, if there is such a thing as a piece or a puzzle or whatever it is, I'm super grateful. And you do embody that lustful energy. And you guys, when I'm talking about lust for life, it's more than just putting bodies together. You know, it's that exuberance, that excitement. And when you said chaos, it's also that piece, you know. And could you talk more about that? Would you mind?
It's funny. I did funny. What we're focusing on chaos. I did a piece in one of our recent call trainings about chaos. What I did was, has anybody been skydiving? And one hand went up. You ever been skydiving, Rüdrani?
No.
You would have. That's
terrified of heights.
Have you ever fell?
Yes.
On the ice. Okay. As soon as you slipped, do you remember what your body did? It sent
Hands.
right?
For those of you who can't see, my hands flew out in front of me.
It sent adrenaline to every one of your cells. It lit you on fire. That feeling was just like bam. So I got people to harness that energy, and what we wanted to do is we wanted to hold on that energy, rest in that energy, and then instill it in people we're calling.
Ah.
Reason we want to do that is because chaos is probably one of the number one things that incites change. And I used to be this guy. Okay, I was this model, and I was.
You're not a guy anymore.
Well, I used to be this guy.
Okay.
I made all this money, and I was a cocky, arrogant dick.
No.
Yeah, and I was like, I love me. I'm never gonna change. So if you don't like me, whatever.
Yeah, screw you.
And then all these things in life happened, right? All these things always happen. I don't know if you know this. I fell off a 4-story building.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Was there a reason why you fell off? Were you sleepwalking?
I misstepped. I fell. I landed on my head and shoulder. I broke my neck, my back. I was in a coma for weeks. I had fractured my skull. I was in a coma for 2 weeks. It took me a couple of years to really learn how to walk again. It was crazy.
Wow. We sort of have similar stories, but you go on.
Yeah. Going from this model to that. I mean, I was 227, weighed 227. I was just shredded, 8-pack, 7-pack.
And you're a tall fella too. You're 6 foot something.
6'7", yeah.
Wow, beautiful. I love it.
Well, I wasn't then. This was when I was 6'4". Anyway, to go from that to not being able to model anymore really humbled me, I guess you could say. Well, I definitely am a walk-in.
Got it.
So
we talk about that.
Definitely need to talk about that. My walk-in is the sweetest, most gentle, most amazing person. Yeah. And it's funny talking about my walk-in like that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that I'm not that dick anymore.
So he kind of saved you.
You have no idea. In so many ways.
I do. I have the same story. Except for I wasn't that big of a dick.
It's nice to talk to a lady who's not been a dick. That's good.
Sorry. Sorry. When did this happen? Like when we look at a calendar. When did that actually happen? How long ago was that?
August 1st, 2004.
You've actually got the date in your head. Wow. Well, I got shot by terrorists in 26th of November, 2008. It's funny how you can go to the beyonds of the date. And I was in a wheelchair by terrorists. You don't know the story? Oh, I thought you knew the story. Anyway, we'll talk about it another time. You guys just Google my name. You'll get 250,000 hits. Okay. So basically was in a wheelchair for 2 years. And when I got to my house, I'm like, whose house is this? What is all this tchotchke shit? And who's this guy? Who's this Guido? Which was my husband. No longer. But anyway, he was the dick in my life. So
oh, wow.
Not being able to walk got rid of him, which was great. So he started a family with someone else. It's another story.
Fantastic. Isn't it funny how things work out so wonderfully?
It was great. I owe those terrorists a great deal. They really did me a favor. Because it really changed my life in a way that I would have never imagined. And I imagine because I love it. I had no idea we kind of had this similarity. And this walk-in comes, you falling off the building changed your life in a trajectory that you could have never imagined. And it created probably more for you than, so exactly. I love that. So I want to hear more about that. Because that's you choosing happiness, my love. That's you choosing happiness.
I
make no mistake.
Yeah. Well, so, man, what do you want to hear about? It was
okay. So you couldn't walk for a couple. You had to, I guess, relearn how to walk. That's what I did. And it kind of put your life in perspective, I gather. You had a different. And so what was that like? And what made you choose what you chose to get where you are today?
Going from, because I didn't come from much. I really didn't come from much. And then and then feeling like I had everything, and then losing it all again.
Yeah.
It was really tough. They put me through a big depression, and my mom, here's what snapped for me. Okay, so, and I don't tell many people this, but
You're
my
about to tell
mother
the world,
calls
honey.
my mother calls me her little sunshine boy.
Oh.
I'm my mother's sunshine boy, and when all the gloom was there and all the melancholy and all the sadness, she was like, "Don't you remember who you are?" I'm gonna get emotional.
Oh, I love
"Don't
it.
you remember who you are?" And I'm like, "What are you talking
Thank
about?
you.
You know who I am?" And she goes, "You're my little sunshine boy." And I'm like,
Mm.
"Oh yeah." No matter where I go, no matter what is happening, I mean, there was abuse in my childhood and all this stuff, but I was still always sunshine boy. That's who I be. That kind of energy, promoting happiness, sunshine everywhere I go. I mean, it's crazy to me how you can make one little compliment to somebody and it could honestly change their whole future. And I know this because it happened to me. When my mom recomplimented me with Sunshine Boy, it changed the whole trajectory of everything I was trying to do, of everything I wanted to be. I harnessed, I came up with this thing. It's called And So It Begins. Whenever there's a speed bump, whenever there's a roadblock, whenever there's a wall in front of me, and so it begins is what I say.
I love
And
it.
whenever I'm going to speak publicly or whatever, and so it begins comes to mind. It's a, you're never restarting your life or different things in your life, but you definitely have an opportunity to create greater.
True
And so
story.
it begins. And so it begins. So my mom really reminded me that, hey, I'm Sunshine Boy. And it's just, I will never, I'll always recall that. I'll always recall that.
Wow. That's like me being the happiness lady. I got coined that when I was on my first book tour because I have 3 books. And it was the book about what had happened, I'll put it in quotes, in India. And they would, the end was always a Q&A. I would show pictures and talk about the slides and all that. And then the Q&A would come. And kid you not, it seemed somebody always came up with, how are you so happy? I mean, I know, okay, yeah, you survived the terrorist attack, but it's this funny thing, why are you so happy? And I said, I don't really have a choice. For me, it was like, I couldn't think of anything else. It was, I got to still be here. I got to keep my arms and legs, I mean, I had an AK-47 go through a table and shatter my right leg and
Oof.
femur and all this, and they had to do a prosthesis just to hold my leg together until it healed. So bed sores and all this other stuff. So my job was to heal. And I watched a lot of documentaries and I did all this stuff. But it was just funny, Rüdrani Devi, the happiness lady. Here you are, the sunshine boy. And I, do we embody it because someone labels us? I mean, no, the energy was there. I've always been that half glass full kind of gal. I don't really know why. It's like for you, even probably when you were Dick or whatever, an asshole or whatever you were before.
I didn't say asshole.
You didn't say asshole. Sorry. When you were this other person, and even before the walk-in, let's say, you were always the energy of the sunshine boy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, innately you were part of that, or you encompassed your cells or whatever. Same with me. I mean, I'm a walk-in also. And I've always been this happy child, even through all the abuse. My father was very abusive, very abusive. I ran away from home several times. Sorry, Celeste, my mom. I did a deal and deliver with her and my teachers basically and said, I got to get out of here. So I went to college at 16 on an academic scholarship. I just couldn't take it anymore and wasn't going to take it anymore and was willing to choose beyond that. So here you are, Sunshine Boy. You said that turned everything around. How did it do that? What were your next? And so it begins.
So I did a lot of studying. I did a lot of looking at different things, and really what kind of stood out to me, funny enough, were quotes. Like, I'm going to harness my body's true potential. I'm here with my body. We're going to make this work together. How do we do it? Nobody can tell me what I can and can't do ever.
course not.
You're not going to tell me I can't walk. What are you, stupid?
Same. They said the same thing about me. You'll never walk again. Unencumbered. You have to have the arm things. No.
You don't. And that was the thing. And that was the thing even when I was a dick, was you don't know me. So what do you know?
Right.
And there's some quotes, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it was Henry Ford. I don't know. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So what do you want to choose?
I love that. It's so simplistic.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a decision to make and you don't make it, that's also a choice,
Yeah, you're still choosing.
That's right.
So what are you going to pick? Are you going to pick can't? So I'm like, okay, that's not a word to me anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say try. I'm not going to say can't. Trying is doing it with the intent to fail, right? No, I'm not going to try.
Absolutely.
I'll fail. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some failures along the way, but failures lead you to success, they say. But these are all implants. Anyway, there's another one too. There's another saying, like, if you can't laugh at yourself, don't worry, somebody else will.
True story.
Putting that humor, keeping that humor, and not making everything significant, right? Laughing at a mistake versus, oh, I'm an idiot. I can't believe I did that. Laughing at a mistake instills laughter in other people. If I do something stupid and somebody around me, I'm like, oh no, did somebody see that? And somebody's laughing, I'm like, oh, great. And I laugh even harder. There's something to be said for how contagious a smile is. Try to be mad at somebody that's laughing and smiling at you. Try to be mad at them. I can't do it.
That's difficult, isn't it? Although I've found that sometimes when I'm laughing around my family, that's a new word. When I'm laughing around them, they'll be in that space of, how can you not take this seriously? Because sometimes I laugh at the choices they make. Not that they're right or wrong. I just wouldn't have chosen them myself. And I think it's a funny choice. And I'll start laughing. And I've had them say, what, you don't care about this? You don't see how serious this is? I'm going to wipe that smile right off your face. And I'm like, try.
Yeah. What if everything was funny? What would be possible then? If you looked at everything with a humorous glow, how would the energy of the world change? I mean, I don't even watch the news anymore because it's so negative.
Oh, I actually watch it and then throw all these algorithms at it.
7.
Yeah. Or 5, 9, 11, 14, 19, 20. Yeah, I know. You guys, now we've totally lost you if you're not in part of Access. And that's okay. If you're curious, you can always find me and I'm happy to fill you in. But, I throw these algorithms that are like, okay, straighten up or die algorithms, or, may the truth be revealed, all the things, and still be in that space. Because, gosh, since the beginning of 2020, there are so many awarenesses that I wasn't aware of until now. And I'm kind of grateful for it all transpiring, actually, to be honest.
Talking about or mentioning Access, wow, the Access, even right before I started doing Access, I was depressed. I was in this depression.
What? The Sunshine Boy? What?
Yep, Sunshine Boy. Sunshine Boy had lost his girlfriend, and he had lost his car, and he had lost his job, and he was sad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it's funny because Access pulled me out of that. The tools of Access consciousness gave me a framework to really choose to be who I be, to choose happiness again, to know that when something's sad, there you go, choose happiness. That's your book. I bought it.
Those tools are in here, y'all. So if you're looking for some happy, you might want to check it out. It's even on Audible, and then you'll get me in your ear. How lucky are you? Anyway, how'd you find Access then?
Allison Cox. I met Allison Cox. We lived about a block away from each other. We kept seeing each other around, and one day we started talking, and everything's a blur since then.
Wow. She yanked you into Access, and your life has never been the same since.
It's funny you say that. She didn't know. It's funny you say that. when something was, I was pissed off or something was heavy, she'd say, "Do you want to ask some questions?" And I'd be like, "What?"
No.
And then she would start asking some questions, and everything would get light
Yeah.
and joyous again. And I'm like, huh, so I can just ask questions? I can just
Yeah. Nobody
ask a
thinks
bunch of
it's that
questions
easy.
and
Yeah.
get rid of a bunch of shit? Get rid of a bunch of gloomy clouds of depression and funk
Yeah,
just
because
by
what we
asking
do is we
possible?
solidify. We've decided something. You said your point of view creates your
Yep.
reality. We decided something, and then what do? We create it because we've already solidified that as our only choice,
Yeah,
not our smartest decision. I love it. So she
presumptive
would say, "You want to
reality.
ask questions?
Yeah.
Give me an example."
What's your presumptive reality around this that's stopping you from choosing? Holy shit. These questions really gave me the power to get my life back
I love it.
again.
That Allison, she's so sneaky,
Yeah, she's
sneaky
pretty
girl.
great. You know, she
I
she
love
didn't
her.
say you have to do this. She didn't say do this. She
Hmm.
didn't say don't do this. She just did it. She just is it.
Yeah, true
And
story.
and it's so intoxicating. It's such an attraction. I
Yeah,
was
it's
so
hot.
attracted to it. I'm so attracted to her. I was so attracted to it that I was just diving in.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I perceived when I saw it when I met you at the 7-day. I don't know how long you'd been in Access then. Not very long, I don't guess. I don't know. But there was this curiosity, you know, this generosity of spirit and curiosity to know more and be more that is irresistible. When people are willing to actually be that vulnerable and that available, to me, that's hot. That's super hot,
I
you
love
know,
it. Yeah.
and that's what you embodied, you know, and you still do. You haven't
Sorry.
stopped,
Oh,
obviously.
that's really fun. What's fun now is like, okay, look at all these things that have changed throughout my life. I was
Hmm.
always going to be the same. Look at all these things I've changed. Ooh, what else can I change?
Right.
So,
And now you're
fresh.
actually changing the trajectory of how Access operates.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Well,
That's the
I'm
goal.
knocking on you, Mr.
Yes,
Wood.
I do it all the time. I actually have a shirt that I modeled back in the day. It's Diesel. Knock on
Oh,
wood.
I love Diesel. I have Diesel jeans. Love them. Anyway, I digress. Go on.
Diesel. That was my thing, yeah. I've
Huh.
seen those Diesel jeans. I've commented on those Diesel jeans. You look great in those Diesel jeans.
Oh, I love the Diesel jeans.
I
I don't
think we
know.
just said Diesel
They actually
jeans.
work for my butt. I don't know. My butt
We
loves
just said,
them. Anyway,
we just said Diesel jeans 5 times. Now that's 7. They ought to pay us for this
I know.
podcast.
I was just getting ready to say it. We need, we could use some sponsors. Diesel jeans. Diesel jeans, Diesel jeans. Okay, so moving right along. I want to hear because I'm so excited about it, and I hope to be part of it in the future. If it's light and it resonates, and I can be a contribution, then I definitely want to be there. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it is? Because I know you've had the position for only a month. You've talked about it a little bit,
Yep.
and you're changing a lot of the things because I'm already perceiving that. Can you give us a little taste of what it looks like? Your job? I don't know what to even call it because to me it's not even a job.
So
It's
yeah, I'm the global calls
a
team lead.
creation.
So basically, I was kind of I think I was brought in to instill some chaos, create some change around the callers that we have, around how they call, what they say, some
Nice.
different messaging things, the number of them definitely increase, and provide them with, like Access did for me, a set of tools that from a messaging perspective creates greater. So, or instills a question into somebody.
Right.
So when we call somebody, we call them after they just took their first bars class, first foundation class, or to check up. There's going to be a lot more calling campaigns coming up too, by the way.
Thank goddess.
Yes. So one of the things that we've instituted is, what can I share with you? Let's see. Is a joy of calling. So where people are like, oh, this is my job, and I have to call people to get paid. Hold on. You get to call people.
Yeah.
I get to call people today. I get to talk to somebody around the world that I've never met and find out what their life is like Find out what change happened for them from bars class. Find out what they're thinking about in the future. Find out what asks, what questions, what came up. Ask some questions with them. I get to talk to somebody and get a whole different perspective of what life is. How cool is that?
Oh my goddess. I just had an awareness, Arthur. May I share it with you? Oh my goddess.
Yes.
So what if you guys, when you did those calls, you did it like what we're doing, like on a Zoom or something, and you collected all these people's experiences from their first bars class. And then when we do the International Bars Day, you piece it together. I think, who was it that was doing all that stuff for Brett, or I don't know who it is that will edit that stuff together. What kind of contribution could that be? Because when they first take their first bars class, the exuberance that comes, because I will never forget it. I literally jumped right from bars into foundation level 1, which now it's all foundation, and then immediately had to take a 3-day body class. And this is before ESB and SOP and ESBs. And I know you guys, acronyms, reach out to me later. I'm happy to fill you in. Or, go to YouTube and put Dr. Dane here and ESB, COP and all the things. Anyway, exuberance.
That's a great idea. I'd love to brainstorm more about that.
That's okay. So we'll talk about it. But I have to say that when you took your first bars class, I mean, what was that like for you? Didn't you just weren't you like, oh my God, sliced bread? I did not know who I was.
Yeah, I was like, because you're not.
What just happened?
I've had bars run before by Allison, right? A ton of times, but you're in there with a bunch of other people who are experiencing their first class too. They're getting new awarenesses, their first time for those awarenesses as well, and all that is like, all that stuff is like, what is this? Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to teach another. I don't even know how many bars classes I've facilitated. But bar none, that is one of my most exciting classes to facilitate, because it's like what you were talking about when there's a bump in the road and you say,
so it begins.
Yes. And you can see it in their eyes. So it begins. Because I remember I tricked my mom into taking the bars class twice, because I was like, I could have gotten a student to come in and fill in to make it an even number. Because this is what you do, people. You actually have, you get to trade with somebody twice. And I might switch you out with somebody else. And so I was one person short. I had so many bars. I stopped counting after I'd facilitated over 300 new people. I stopped counting. But I was like, Celeste, could you just I need another set of hands. And I remember the first time that she took the bars class, because she's a piano concertist.
Oh, wow.
So we have 3 grand pianos in the house. And so she was like, had her hands on somebody's head. She goes, I can feel that. It's so funny because I can feel my hands feeling my hands. Yeah. For those of you not looking at YouTube, my hands are facing each other, and I'm feeling the feels. So there we were, and she's doing the class, and I saw it in her eyes. She's like,
That's
and I
exciting.
said, you're just feeling you, baby. All the things. And like I had her in here the other day, she was having a migraine. She'd been having it for weeks. And I said, well, I could work on you if you want. And she's like, yeah, but she would rather play with her. And I said, listen, we have no internet. You have nothing else better to do. Get on my table. An hour later, the headache was gone. She's hasn't returned. By the way, this stuff can work. It can work.
I sucked at sleeping. I was not good at sleeping. Not a good sleeper at all. It would come to night, and I maybe sleep an hour, wake up for a while, an hour. And Allison said, do you want me to run your bars? And I'm like, what is that? What is that? And she said, just lay down. So she's running my bars.
Shouldn't even tell you I love it.
Within 1 minute, snoring, best sleep of my life ever so far. And I continue to have the best sleep ever so far. We continue to run bars. It's wonderful. It's really fun dating somebody in Access, because we get to trade bars every night.
Oh, wow. You guys do it every night?
Pretty much.
They do it every night, y'all.
And morning.
I like morning sex. Oh, did I say that out loud? Anyway. Yeah. So I remember the first time I got my bars running I passed out too. I found a lady. Well, this is so interesting. So Gary was channeling, and he was in Kent Blasey's house, and my chiropractor friend invited me to come, and that's how I met the Gary. And Dane was there, but I didn't even see him because he was just a participant. by the way, y'all, Access Consciousness got started in Nashville, Tennessee, which is where I reside. Okay, so
Really?
I go, yeah, got a little history lesson going on here. So there I am, and I meet a woman there, and I don't know anything about bars, and it's kind of a newish thing that Gary might have been around for maybe 5 years, I guess. And I channeled, and so she wanted a channeling session, and she goes, but she couldn't pay me, so I was like, well, what you got? And she goes, well, I could run your bars. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to have her go first because her thing may not be that cool. So I got her. She runs my bars. It's the same. I passed out. And like an hour later, I wake up. I'm like, well, that's a ripoff. I just slept through the whole thing, but I noticed changes. So she came and I did a reading for her. And then my body was telling me, because I was doing muscle testing, kinesiology, and all the things, y'all, all the new age things. And not to say that new age is bad or good. I'm just saying, I know that I know. And I knew that my body wanted to have more. Mm-hmm. So I asked her if she wanted to continue trading. So 1 week she would run my bars. And then the next week I would do a session for her or one of her peeps. And I also did something called a life alignment, which was another type of body process. Okay. But what I noticed with bars, when I finally learned bars, which was slow learner, y'all, it was 2011 before I actually took my first bars class. And this was 2003 that I first discovered bars. But here I was getting my bars run continuously. And my life was changing. And I didn't actually point to that. All I knew is my body wanted it. Because bodies, by the way, are so much smarter than you are, people.
Yeah. Bodies will tell you what you want.
We're stupid. The bodies are smart. So when your body tells you something, maybe you listen, Or don't take my word for it. Take your body's word for it.
Don't do anything that she's saying right now.
That's right. At all. But it was pretty amazing because, honey, I slept the first year of bars through the bars things. Now I'm so alert. It's so funny. It's like I used to pass out whenever I was facilitated by Gary and Dane. When I'd go to the classes, I'd be like, and now I'm like so hyper alert. It's like this complete reversal.
Like, you pass out ever? I don't believe you. Because that's all I know is the hyper lady. Hyper happy.
Yeah, I know. And it's a superpower. I'm just saying. I might get 4 hours of sleep a night. I don't know. All the things.
Awesome.
So anyway. All the things. So, okay. I could talk to you forever. And this has been so amazing. And thank you so much for being a superlative guest. Yeah, that's no judgment there.
So grateful. So grateful. Please have me back. What do I have to do?
Well, let me think about that and I'll get back to you.
I want to be back. I want to come back.
I would love to have you back as a guest. Absolutely. And, I got to ask you a couple questions, though, because I'm always throwing this one out there. Arthur Wood, how do you get your happy on? If there was something that, you're like thinking, one of those things that I like for me, I get in my hot tub every morning and I commune with Mother Earth and I just be that energy of communion with her. And that starts my day in such a way that it never gets old. I even have a hot tub in my house. It's a whirly tub thing in case it's raining or snowing and all the things. And I look out the window and I'm like, Mother Earth, I'm so grateful for you. That's kind of my happy moment or place.
Well, you get my happy on. So hanging out with you, talking to you, and that's not even BS. You really.
Thank you.
You help me get happy. You completely have this aura about you that is just such a profound energy. How far does it go? That's the question. Because I feel it here, and I'm in Denver. You're in Nashville. Good work.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't feel responsible at all for your happy.
Secondly, probably tools of access. Being able to choose what I want to choose, or what I choose, and be what I be without worrying about any judgments and any bullshit and any implants and any outside anything and any crap. Yeah. Being able to be who I am and just thrive in who I am has been the biggest gift I've ever had. So thank you, Access Consciousness. Thank you, Rüdrani, Devi. Those are the ones.
Wow. It's interesting. I'm going to just give you a little backstory, Arthur Wood, about this book.
Please.
You were talking about the tools. After my second book, because I ended up running the Boston Marathon, Adidas heard my story and they gave me a hard luck pass to run it because I was training for it. I'd run a dozen marathons and
I don't know. I used to run a half marathon every weekend so that I was ready for marathon status, whatever. Now I know a lot about why I did all that.
13 miles. Half
Yeah,
marathon.
13.1 and 26.2 is a full.
So every weekend you would run 13 miles.
I was running 12 at least.
Oh, still.
So I would stay at I'd stay to full marathon status because I could train for 2 more weeks. And I would run anywhere from 12 to 15.
That's
depending
crazy.
on.
Wow.
I know. And we'll talk about it later, but it has a lot to do with PTSD and all that. And I didn't know that's why my body was like trying to find a way to get rid of that energy that was trying to come up.
Sure.
That's another book I'm working on. You know, I'm working on 2 books right now in addition to, Anyway.
Good for you. Get the word out there. Yeah.
Thank you. So what happened was everybody was always asking me, how can you be so happy? How can you be so happy? And I thought, well, I have these tools of access consciousness. And then I thought, okay, how could I actually get that out there in a layman's way, contribute to Gary and Dane that have contributed so much by getting this information out there, but in a way that people could receive it. Because if you're around us long enough, you guys, if you've never done any access, the access speak can be a little interesting. I'll put it that way. And so what I did is I wanted to create a book with the tools that was like Access 101. So for those people, because what I've noticed is a lot of people cannot actually tell you what access consciousness is, or they can't really articulate it in a way that doesn't sound like we're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And we all are, by the way. Anyway, I digress. So what I did was I created a book that anybody in access where their family's afraid they've joined a cult or something like that can go, hey, you really want to know what it's about? Here, read this book. And they'll know within the first couple of chapters. I mean, I basically throw myself under the bus. I'm like, these are all the ways not to use the tools. And maybe a few ways you could. You know?
Well, that's great.
Basically going through my life.
I haven't read it yet. I need to read the book.
You haven't read the book, but you can also get it on Audible too. I mean, it's a 90-minute read in my interesting point of view.
Oh, interesting. So you do it in 90 minutes on Audible?
Yeah, it's a little bit longer because, you know, I get a little dramatic. I pause when I can perceive that it might, you know, create more.
You're such an actress.
So it might be. Well, honey, you don't know. I was a child model and was in a lot of commercials. I was a Gaddy's girl. Gotta get a Gaddy's. I sang the Photomat jingle. There's a great way to take pictures. It's where they do pictures best. So drive up and roll down your window and let Photomat do the rest. Ooh. I don't remember all that. But anyway, yeah, I did all that. I was a singer, dancer, actress growing up. And it was my way to hide the PTSD.
Not surprised. Good for you.
Yeah. So, and now I do it just because I love it.
You have
my life does not suck.
You have a knack.
I enjoy my life. I actually really like me and like what I'm putting out in the world, even when a lot of people, like my family, don't get it. I don't care. I'm not going to cut my arms and legs off for anyone. So anyway, so that's the backstory about the book. It's like with you, you know, you're choosing for you. And what I love about Access is that's primarily what we're showing people is that you know that you know.
You know what you know. Believe in that, or just know it, and choose for you. Don't choose for anybody else. Choose for you.
Right. Yeah, and without a point of view, because you know it doesn't matter. Nobody else has to follow you, honey. Nobody. Know that you know. Be that space of all of you and see what it creates. Wow. Thank you so much. Where can people find you, Mr. Arthur Wood?
I am pretty much Arthur A. Wood everywhere.
Okay.
So LinkedIn is linkedin.com/in/awood. But I'm pretty much Arthur A. Wood. Instagram, Arthur A. Wood. WhatsApp, Arthur A. Wood.
We'll make sure to have it in the show notes, y'all. So if you're looking for this handsome man, who could still be modeling, by the way, he's so gorgeous, you could find him. Would you receive that, please?
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Really, really grateful to be on here. Thank you. Have me back. Have me back.
I will. I adore you. I'll have to have you back. And okay, you guys, if you enjoyed this conversation, please, you know, subscribe, hit the like button, share with those that you know this could be a contribution to. And yeah, know that you know. And until next time, y'all, ciao, ciao for now.
Ciao,
bye.
for now.
Thank you so much for choosing happiness. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, share, and give us a like. And if you want more happy, subscribe to the Choosing Happiness membership where you can play directly with me, Rüdrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. How does it get any better than that?